Windrose looks like a chill survival game. It's not. So the first thing you need to understand is that Windrose does a really good job of feeling simple at the start, but it's actually misleading. The very first island is basically the tutorial. It walks you through gathering, crafting, and building your first weapon. All of the basics. But it does not teach you how to play the game efficiently. Because if you treat this like a chill hack and slash survival game, you're gonna get punished for it. You'll waste a ton of resources, you'll run out of stamina mid-fight, and you'll end up doing way more work than is actually needed. So before you jump in, here are some things you need to know. When playing Winrose in a co-op session, every player individually has the exact same quest. And naturally, the game expects players to complete each individual step individually, even if you are in a co-op experience. So you're basically building multiple camps on the exact same starter island, wasting a megaton of resources. So here's exactly how you do it without wasting those resources in time. You dedicate one individual to start crafting the items required for the quest line, whether it's the bonfire, like the starting one, or the starting workbench, or the first tent, you name it. At that point, have the second or third or even fourth player come behind them and break that item down. So destroy the bonfire and then turn around and build it for themselves utilizing the exact same materials. This will save you a bunch of materials and a bunch of time doing so while still allowing every single player quest line to continue to progress. And speaking on resources, that brings us to the second tip here that you absolutely need to know and utilize, and that relates to the quest that introduces you to the copper mine and where to find copper ore to bring it back to your base to craft a weapon. The first thing you need to do and understand, and that is have a clear inventory. I recommend only taking 3 things with you. That is a pickaxe, a sword for melee to defend yourself on the way there, and lastly, some wood. We'll talk about why you need the wood here in a second, but basically all 3 of these things are going to be what you want to be in your inventory. Everything else put in a chest, drop on the ground, whatever you need to do to make as much room as you possibly can to hold as much ore as you possibly can. Now, once you officially have made it to the cave and you enter into the cave, the first thing you're going to notice is that it is very dark. So unless if you or your buddy or somebody has crafted a torch, well, good luck trying to find all the copper ore. What I would recommend doing, and the reason why I had you bring wood in your inventory, is if you press B on your keyboard and open up the building menu, you will be able to place standing torches inside of the cave. I know, you probably assumed you couldn't build in here, but yep, you absolutely can. I recommend placing down a couple of these torches as you adventure your way through once you start to run out of light. It makes a massive difference and it makes farming ore a lot easier. But secondly here, make sure that you farm everything in this cave. Completely clear it out, because believe it or not, you're going to need a ton of this copper ore, and you're going to waste a ton of time going back and forth if you just farm up a little bit at a time. I recommend just clearing the entire thing now, bringing it all back to your base, and then just having it smelting all the time, so then not only for this quest step completion, but all the additional ones that you need here in the future before leaving the starting area. And now, speaking on those copper ingots we just talked about, one thing that you might be tempted to do or overlook, and that is crafting nails. You guys know that some of the recipes and crafting benches and things that you can make as you start to unlock things are going to require nails, and you can see that you can craft nails via copper ingots inside of the workbench. However, this is a trick and a massive mistake. There's actually a way that you can farm a bunch of nails without having a single copper ingot. And that brings us to these lovely broken down ship pieces that you can see halfway buried in the sand. You can find these things all over the starter island, and I highly recommend, honestly, that every player farm these up. All you're going to need is your simple stone axe that you use to chop down trees, walk up to them and just start wailing on them and destroying them. Not only will you get some wood, but you will also see that it drops the nails. So absolutely do not waste your copper ingots on crafting these bad boys, as you can get them completely free here by chopping down all of these broken ship parts. Next up, let's talk about the reality check here of combat. A lot of people are going to be diving into this game, and you might have done so as well, like I have, expecting it to be a simple hack and slash, standard survival game combat experience. Well, that is not the case here for Windrose, as the game itself has a stamina management system, and if you do not understand how the system works, well, you will die over and over and over again, and yes, I even mean to the simple boars and crabs on the beach. So before you go into the fight trying to hack and slash your way through, here are some tips that hopefully will help give you the advantage. Number 1, slow down. When you go in there, poke a couple of times at the enemy, once, maybe twice, and then go ahead and use your dodge. Then at this point, you're just going to basically wait to see the enemy's attacks, whether it's a boar and they're going to do a charge 2-hit attack, or it's a crab going to do a pinch lunge, or, a drown that's going to, flail their arms around, you name it. Each individual enemy type has a different attack stance and a different attack pattern. What you're going to do is you're basically poking it to get its attention, and then you're going to back away, see what it does, and then you can go ahead and counter attack after it performs its attack towards you. Once again here, try not to get greedy, because the game does punish you if you do get greedy when it relates to attacking in the combat in the game. And this is honestly why I see a lot of people dying here early game in Windrose, because it is a massive reality check if you guys are not managing that stamina bar and expecting just to hack and slash your way through. Next up, here's a tip that every player never wants to hear, and that is read everything you find in the game. But trust me when I say this can actually lead to hidden additional loot. And just to give you a quick example here, I looted this note off of a dead body skeleton that I randomly discovered on the island. And upon reading it, I found out exactly where they buried the treasure, as they mention here, underneath the tree with the red cloth on top. So naturally, utilizing my shovel, I was to dig around, and I eventually found the treasure chest that was hidden here that had some additional loot inside. And this is only one example. Not every time it's going to be laid out this exact same way, and honestly, not even every piece of lore that you do find will have some sort of loot or treasure chest, cache a part of it. Sometimes it is just simply lore, but nevertheless, it is just a easy way to miss loot by not reading the items. And the next tip here relates to all my builders out there. I know the moment you drop into the game, you're going to want to spend a ton of resources and time to build the ultimate pirate base. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a giant mistake, at least at the starter island. I do not think it is worth spending your resources on the starter island to build a custom crazy pirate base. Instead, what I would recommend utilizing is in the building menu, you go down to the prefab section and you just build the standard hut. The standard hut, you can actually fit quite a bit of chest and a bunch of different, crafting benches that you are going to need to complete the tutorial island. Next up, let's talk about skill points and the RPG aspect of Windrose that a lot of players don't even realize is a thing. As you level up in Windrose, you can actually pick and choose individual stats to specialize in. If you hover over each individual stat, it will give you a little bit more description and understanding about that specific stat. And I think this is important for every player to read, because it's not the standard that you see in other games. Yes, vitality increases your health, and yes, strength increases your attack damage, but it does not do it across the board. Some of these are actually catered to individual weapons and weapon types, along with how you like to play the game. So make sure you're taking the time to read each one of these before picking and choosing to invest your points, but just know that you're not locked in forever. The reset feature in the game is actually 100% for free, so experiment early in my opinion, and base it off of the weapons that you currently have or find first, so then you can utilize them efficiently. As for your first couple of points, I would recommend pumping into stamina and health, just simply to make sure that you last and live a little bit longer and have more stamina to do more attacks before running out and potentially dying. And this honestly goes right along with that, and that is do not rush the starter island. The starting island is very, very easy. It's not overrun by too many mobs, and it has an abundance of resources that you're going to need, especially at the start of the game. I highly recommend, as a really big tip here for every player, to go around and farm everything. Farm all of the copper ore inside of the cave, all of the clay nodes that you randomly discover around the map, kill all of the boars that you possibly can to get as much hide as possible, and even pick all of the various, plants that you uncover, things like potatoes and the spicy peppers, so you can craft the tier 2 food, the tier 2 armor, and the tier 2 weapons before ever even leaving the starter island. Trust me here, if you leave the starter island without doing these things, you're going to feel vastly under-geared and under-prepared when it comes to the next set of enemies and tasks that you have for your quest objective. And that's just from the first few hours of gameplay, and I see a lot of people completely missing a lot of this stuff, not doing it, and they're wasting a ton of time and a ton of resources. So if you're jumping into Windrose, don't be like those other people and make these mistakes. Utilize these tips to their efficiency, and good luck to you guys.